Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Hello, everyone. Yes, it is Sunday night, and it is time for another stream. Now, I've just got myself a cup of tea. I hope you are all safe and well. Let me just get the horrible box off that YouTube saying now would be a good time to insert an ad. Yeah, I bet it always is at the start of a stream, YouTube, but we don't do that on streams. Hello. I hope you are all fantastic. Tonight, we're going to do a bit of a Q&A on this, the HDZero monitor, for a couple of reasons, actually, because I'm a bit disappointed in my video because there was a mistake made. A piece was actually missing, which I missed in the edit. And it ended up a bit bigger than I anticipated the video. And I must have cut it out by accident. And that was a bit talking about the frame rates and the versions. But also a couple of other things which we'll talk about as well along the way. But I think it's a good time to do a bit of a Q&A on this because there's been a lot of interest in this product. We're also going to talk about two things to do with these. Number one, there seems to be quite a bit of confusion out there about the situation with balancing on these radios. And I'm going to talk about that tonight, but we're then also going to talk about the new version of EdgeTX, which has just landed. And in fact, we'll flash this radio with it because I haven't updated EdgeTX in a long time. Actually, I don't rush to update them. This is a bench radio. I like the TX16. It's a great radio, but it's a bit big for me personally in the field. So this tends to be my bench radio for doing everything on, although my Boxer does become my bench radio. And in fact, unfortunately, I dropped my Boxer today and I bent one of the potentiometers. But it's okay. We'll order a new one. We're also going to talk about the ongoing sort of saga around the Goggles X. And the reason I've brought this back up is we're still seeing posts of people having problems, and we'll talk about that today as well. I haven't done my second review of the Goggles X yet, and actually I think what we may do tonight live on stream is pull the heatsink off a brand new set of Goggles X, which I have here, which I haven't even done myself yet, so you guys will get to see it for the first time. And as always, we'll answer any questions you may have as we go along the way. Now, it's been a rather interesting week overall, quite quiet, not a lot going on. I've parked the Avata 2 to one side for a little bit. In fact, I'll be honest, I haven't done a lot this week. I've taken a bit of a week out. Hi, Justin, how are you? I've taken a bit of a week out just to sort of calm down with everything and just have a chance to sit back and look at things. There's a bunch of stuff I had in my head because I had a bit of a clear week. I thought, oh, I'll get these done. And I've got nothing done this week at all. Shame on me, he says. But I'm also in a bit of a lull, finally, where there's literally just like 2 products to review. And I'm actually empty. I have nothing here to talk about, which for me is okay. For me, that's a nice position to be in. And that sort of tells you a hint of I'm not aware of anything big around the corner of anything coming. But it's actually nice. It's been a crazy period. And it is nice that things have settled down a little bit. Now, there are a few things I've been sort of offered that I need to reply to. I need to get around to, but then nothing major. Flight controllers and stuff like that. No, not even new releases, just a couple of companies have said, hey, would you like to look at this? Which is cool, but they're not sort of new or exciting things. And I have a cup of tea as well. So, yes, it's been a little bit quiet, which is good. It's nice to have FPV settle down a little bit. Settle down probably till mid-year. And mid-year is coming fast. And something else we should probably talk about on CaddX is apparently mid-year. Is a time when we were told CaddX were going to maybe release a new system. I'll openly say to you now, I know nothing. I think there's as much chance as a new system coming in June as there is, well, as DJI bringing support for the original ear unit to the Goggles 3. But hey, you never know. I think you never know on these things. I woke up early just for this. How are you? Hello, all you beautiful losers. How are you, Carl? How are you? True, it's time to fly. Yeah, weather's been good. It's just, I've had a bit of a thing. Foxtech ELRS situation, maybe. Yeah, I think we will touch on that as well, because that's definitely worth touching on. That's a bit of a complicated one in the sense of the ExpressRS team have had their say. I don't have their receivers, but we will talk about that one as well. Sort of the pitfalls of, let me just search for that. The pitfalls of open source. That is the problem at times. Oh, there's something there about newbie drone as well. We'll talk about that in a minute as well. So, the first thing we should talk about. The first thing is going to be this. No, it isn't. It's going to be this. The HDZero monitor. Now, for those who didn't see, this launched this week. Let me just bring up the web page so you guys can see it. If you haven't seen, it is available now to order for $174.99. $175, 800 nit screen, HDZero and analog FPV built in, instant boot up. I'm not going to quite say it's instant, 2 to 3 seconds. Auto switching, 4x3 display, 720p, analog upscaler, all upscaled, CVBS input, USB-C for parameter and firmware updates, dual XT30 and barrel jack DC input. Now, I did a full review on it and it is there. And there's a couple of things that I didn't get into the review, but I also made a very small mistake as well, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But overall, look, it's a really interesting monitor. Now, the first thing for me to say on this is, this isn't designed to be a HDZero VRX replacement. It is a monitor, okay? It is designed to be a monitor, and I'm just going to bring the overhead in. If we go on the overhead, it is designed to be a monitor. It isn't designed to replace a VRX. It does have your dual DC, your audio, your video and audio input, your power switch. You got SD card for the DVR, USB-C for parameter adjustment, does not do power, and HDMI output. It does have obviously your typical thread on the bottom and 2 antenna inputs. On digital, both come in on digital. On analog, only that only that antenna is the analog antenna. Let me just flip it over. The module's on that side there, so it's that antenna there. Yeah, only that antenna does analog. Oh, I've left autofocus on. At the moment, the monitor doesn't do playback, so it can't play back video. It only does record. It auto records as well, which is quite cool. And overall, I think it's a good little device. Now, the few areas where there's been some confusion. So this monitor supports 720p, 60, and 540p 90 modes. However, it doesn't support 90 on the display, HDMI output, or DVR. You can view the 90 mode in this. You can record the 90 mode, but it is only at 60 frames a second. It outputs at 60 frames a second. Can you put a fat micro SD card in it? Has to be formatted as FAT32, the SD card. You can't format the SD card in it either. 1080p 30. I haven't tried the 1080p 30 mode on it. That is the one thing I haven't tried. Let me just check, because I did get a message from Carl with all of the rates on. Let me just check this, because that isn't one I've done. Yes, supports 1080p 30. All HDZero modes supported. All HDZero modes supported. There you go. Can you HDMI out to goggles? Technically, yes. But it isn't designed as a VRX replacement. I haven't tested the latency on the HDMI out, but part of the reason for that is I didn't expect anyone to want to connect this to goggles. I didn't see the point. But it supports all of the modes. Now, power question, pivot. Stubbies will be absolutely fine on this. No issues at all antenna-wise. You know, obviously, analog is single input, digital is dual. Power-wise, it draws about 10 watts of power. In fact, in my test, it was 10 watts on the nose. It was like 9.996 watts, literally down to the nose. 600 milliamp, but full 4S voltage, basically. But 10 watts on the conversion. So 10 watts of RF power, DC power. It is inside, in essence, a VRX. Now, I said in the video, and I actually made a mistake on this, and I'm going to apologize. In the teardown bit of the video, I did say it has the same SoC as the goggles, and that was a mistake. It has the same SoC as the VRX, not the goggles. The goggles had a Linux all-winner chipset, whereas this has the same chipset used in the VRX version 4 module. The same star chipset. In fact, if I just go over to here, I did do a teardown in the video, but for those who haven't seen, I do have the internal images here. So what you've got is your main SoC there. You've got your dual digital antenna inputs coming in to the DiviMath chipset. You've then got your single spear off going to your analog module, which is under there. You've got your star chipset, which is the SSC 8339D, exactly the same as the VRX version 4, or the V4 they call it. You've then got your second DiviMath chipset, your display driver, your HDMI output, your FPGA, your SRAM, your ROM. You've got a ROM down there, JTAG, ROM there as well. Now, there has been a lot of questions when people are saying, you know, why is the monitor so expensive? And it's not particularly expensive, but why is it a lot more than others? You have to take into account, there is a lot of silicon in this monitor. You can see it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dedicated ICs, of which 1, 2 are dedicated HDZero silicon. HDZero is not particularly optimized from a build and design point of view for silicon. If you look at things like DJI and Avatar, they have a lot less. Everything is in more of a single custom ASIC. Whereas Carl is across multiple chipsets, and then Carl has to have another chipset to run the OS on the receiver side. On the goggles side, or the ear side, on the ear side, Carl runs the OS on his own chip. But on the goggles side, he runs the OS and DVR on a separate chipset. It's not as sort of optimized from a silicon point of view. Now, that is partly, oh, pardon me, catching that, really because HDZero was never designed specifically as a digital FPV system. It was designed as a wireless digital system. So Carl sort of has the in and the out, allowing you to connect it to whatever you want. But that then means there needs to be extra silicon needed for it. With regards to the receiver, just so people know, it is a rich wave chipset. Let me find it there. I did take a picture of it, but it's a rich wave chipset on the receiver, which you can see on that separate daughter board there. And overall, look, the monitor's very, very good. Honestly, no complaints. About the only things I will say on this monitor, and I didn't say this in the video, and it was a miss again, is, right, loads of people said to me, and let me just find this, because this is what happens when you make assumptions, okay? I made an assumption, right? So, let me just get this up. Let me put it on the desktop. I assumed people would see that this was a screen film. I just assumed in my head people would understand that there was a screen film over the monitor. There's a peel section somewhere. I can't see where it is. I assumed people would have seen and just understood that, and I made a real mistake there, because the amount of people who asked me about the screen film, you'll see it here in a minute. You'll see the peel section somewhere. It must be on the other side of the monitor. I can't remember where it is. But I should have peeled it off in the video. So no, it wasn't scratched as hell. The screen peel was, but the monitor wasn't. The monitor was perfect. I'm trying to see if I can see if you actually see the tag. I may even have said it at some point, but yeah, I made a bit of a mistake there. What I will say, though, on that was the screen film, not the screen protector. Screen film from the factory. Now, they do include a screen protector in the box, which you can see there. I didn't get it fitted perfectly. I did get a bit of a bubble up there that I've not been able to get off. What I will say, though, is this. The screen is very soft. So you do need to be careful even polishing the screen before fitting the screen protector. It will scratch if there's anything on the cloth, so just be careful. You want to install this screen protector the second you have it. I couldn't get mine to stick all the way down there. As you can see, I did have it thing there. But yeah, really, look, it's a good bit of kit. That and the micro SD card format is fine. Wonder what size is acceptable, like 1 terabyte. I've not gone up to 1 terabyte. I've put up to 32 in here. Okay. I did mention it. You have a screen protector. That, I think it's just the way the edit came out with it. It's just amazing. People say, oh my God, it's scratched. It's like, if I'd have received a monitor that was scratched like that, you'd have been told it was scratched like that. What I also, though, wanted to do was show you it as it came to me. That is as it came. I'm not criticizing HDZero for that. That screen film wasn't me scratching that like that. That was how it was when I opened the box. Because that bit is... I do that bit of a video literally instantly when I do recording. I do the unboxing straight away whenever I do anything. So, yeah, it did come from the factory with a lot of marks on the screen protector, screen film. But it's not that the screen was scratched. Yeah, just don't use it without a screen protector. Honestly. Goggles V2 should have analog built in, as in this monitor has. Yeah, but DJI don't support like third-party systems. Hi, Madge. You've always so good at highlighting flaws. What excites me the most in the droll world right now? I'll talk about that when we finish. We'll finish on the monitor, then we'll come on to that. But yeah, so on the HDZero monitor, I don't really know what else there is to say. It's very good at what it does. The software is really basic. The only criticism you could sort of really lay is there's no way to play back the videos you've recorded on it. And that's the only real criticism I should have laid on it in the video, and I didn't. Could you show us 90... wait, there's something over it. Frame pacing. I don't know. It looks fine on the monitor. The 90 looks fine. The footage I actually showed in the recorded video was from the 90. I didn't say it, but that was recorded in the 90 mode. It looks fine to me. I don't see any problems with it at all. It's probably dropping a frame here and there. But look, this isn't designed to be the best way of getting footage out of HDZero, right? At the end of the day, the HDZero goggles are the best solution for HDZero. Did I test it with analog? Yes, I did in the video. Seems to work fine. No complaints at all. Analog looks good. Yes, in the review, I show it with analog. It looks fine. No complaints. It's really a spectator tool and a backup tool and an event tool is what it is. It's for what if you're after a monitor that you're flying, if you were running like a mini event, a couple of these would be bob on. It really would. Did I try the HDMI out to my goggles? No, but I can do. Look, there's no reason it won't work. It's HDMI out to what goggles? Again, this is not a receiver. I cannot recommend this as a replacement for a VRX module. I just can't. It's not designed for it. It's not got the menu system. It's not got auto scan. It's not got any of the VRX options. Don't buy this instead of the HDZero VRX. It's not the right tool. It has no control options for HDZero at all. It's not a VRX. I cannot stress that enough. It's not a VRX. It is a standalone monitor for people who want to be able to run mini events, for people who want to be able to record their HDZero feed. What about this versus an analog VRX? I'd always use an analog VRX. I won't recommend this as a VRX. It's no options on it at all. There's nothing there for it. Or maybe it uses a tool on the desk when changing things around. Yeah, look, for me, I think the number one thing this will be used for is people want to host in mini events. 2 or 3 of them, you know, your local race chapter who doesn't want a HDZero race VTX, which was quite expensive with the 4 receivers, the 4 antennas. I think 1 or 2 of these will get most people through it. If you were racing yourself, I'd have one of these there. That way you don't have to jump between digital and analog for watching. You know, if you're at a race event, it's a great tool to take with you for your own use. Is it good for monitoring video on my desk or setting up a drone? Absolutely. Yeah, 100% AVI. Small members of a club could get one each instead of one person paying the full cost. 100%. You know, if you got a small race chapter and you jump in between digital and analog, and 3 or 4 members have these, happy days. Look, that's what this is aimed at. It really is. Solo users who want to back up, want to be able to demonstrate HDZero, want to be able to jump between systems. It's got a lot of uses. It's not, though, a VRX replacement. It's just not. It's not what it's designed for. It's not the idea of it. It's just not what it was designed for. So, if there's any other questions on that, let me know before we move on. Overall, no complaints. Really good to see. HDZero continuing to deliver products. On DJI, to show your view, you need an app and a cable, right? This thing is just a monitor like you can hand off. Yes, so you can do wireless on DJI 04. What about long-range flying with a tripod? You could. Yeah, it's a bit small for flying. You'd want another size display. Remember, it's quite a small screen. You could fly on it, but it's quite a small screen. Well, okay, my Avatar 2, I had to return whatever, but I can't lie, the video recorder is gorgeous. So, I mean, yeah, I use 03 units in builds. There's a shockingly big difference between 03 and 04, honestly. There is, for the people who've not flown side-by-side, the side-by-side 03 unit or Avatar 1 to 04, and it is shocking how big the gap is. I wasn't expecting it. I'll be honest. I was not expecting the big gap that was there. I was talking to someone as well. On the HDZero Discord, he was talking about like CaddX being caught up to DJI 03, and I'm sorry, they're just not near. The Moonlight is not near 03. And there was some video being shared of one of the creators. I can't remember who it was. I have seen it before. He's a bit bigger than me, but I don't know what he's done to his 03 footage because it looks horrific. I'll be honest. Well, I rewatched the full video and I was like, that looks a shit show. It looks an absolute... 03 doesn't look like that in the real world normally. But what I'm convinced is goggles footage. It's either goggles footage or YouTube has absolutely mullered it because there is smearing in the footage. And look, you can't have smearing in DVR footage from DJI or Avatar. There can be smearing as a result of compression on image loss. And it just doesn't add up. You can get motion blur, but not smearing. Smearing is artifacts as a result of RF signal loss compression. You cannot have smearing in DVR footage. So if anyone's ever showing you and they say, hey, this is DVR from the air unit and there's smearing, question it. Because you can't have smearing. It's not possible to have smearing in the DVR. Even with the poor SD card LON, it's goggles link smearing, not actual, artifacts. And I can tell you this, right? Avatar Moonlight is the best looking video I have seen from Avatar HD. It is not in a country mile of 03. I'm sorry, and I know some people won't agree with that. It is not even close. Not remotely close when you stick it in an NLE and look at it. Now, I will say this. Many FPV pilots will say that Avatar might look better than DJI. And there is a reason for that. Because Avatar is based off the same sensors used in CCTV, based on the same sensors we're all used to in FPV. DJI uses camera sensors specifically designed for taking video and photography, not the low light CCTV based sensors that you tend to find in FPV cameras and things like that. So there is a natural look to Avatar which FPV pilots are accustomed to, because they're accustomed to that CCTV style of footage. And it was Troncat FPV's video. It was. I couldn't remember who it was. I don't know who he is. I don't think I've ever spoke to him. I got nothing against him. I was shared this as, you know, proof of how better Avatar is than DJI. Let me just get past the advert. And something is off with some of the footage. And it could be YouTube algorithm. But what I can tell you is, when we get past the ads, some of this doesn't look right. If we look, there's some woodland footage, right, in a minute. And first of all, I don't know what he's done to the color profile. The color profile on 03 looks off to me. But it's this woodland footage, right? Now, look at this. Right, look at the smearing in this footage. Let me just go high. And now you're watching a stream. Like, see there. Can you see that block? That block there is smeared. Right? That is... Right? What am I playing this in? Auto 720p. That don't help. I think YouTube has mullered it. But this doesn't look right. This does not look right at all. You cannot have smearing in DVR footage. You just can't. You can have noise, you can have motion blur, but smearing is specifically RF loss. This 03 doesn't look right to me. It does. There's something. It's goggles footage. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's YouTube that's butchered it. But there is something off that DJI looks so bad, right? And Avatar looks so good. But in the DVR on board, it's just running up the ISO. Yeah, but I'd expect that to be noisy, Lon, not smear. I've never seen 03 look like this. To me, it's goggles DVR or something. Something is off. Something just doesn't feel. Something is not right with it. It just. See, there's smearing all here. You shouldn't get smearing. See, this looks like DVR, but this looks like goggles. Down here, it's all smeared. It's smeared. It's not right. Something is off. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Color profile. It doesn't look default. No, it's... What I'll say is this. Look, I would more than happily recommend CaddX as the best looking system if it was. I don't care. I have no horse in this race. In fact, here is the truth. There is every benefit to me there is every benefit to me to recommend CaddX over DJI. There's just complete benefit to me to recommend CaddX over DJI. Yeah, I can't hand on heart ever say that Moonlight is as good because it just isn't. It's not, and it's not close. Even when you get it into Resolve or get it into an NLE, both side by side, it's not close. It's just not. If you really start digging into it, it's just not. It really isn't. It's and I can only ever say the truth because at the end of the day, I wouldn't want someone to buy something that wasn't. If you want the best out-and-out image quality, it is 03. If you want the very best, it's actually the Yeah, but I don't look. I've done a lot of comparison between the two, and they look. When you really dig into Avatar, it falls apart very, very quickly. Has considerable noise reduction. Always turn it down. Now, out the box, O3 doesn't look like that. When you actually start watching the footage, there's a lot of smearing in places. To me, it looks like goggles footage. That's what it looks like to me. Now, it could be that YouTube has completely butchered it. It ain't minimal when you compare them side by side. When you start digging in, Avatar is still the Moonlight DVR is a bunch of shit still compared to what DJI are doing. It's not even close. It's not even remotely close. You can class it as thumb or thumb pro level DVR, not remotely near what DJI are doing on board. It's just not the same. When you dig it, it just falls apart really quickly. And that's the issue. So, look, Avatar is looking as good as it's ever looked, but it's still not a GoPro replacement. And not even O3 is a GoPro replacement. It's close, but it's not. O4. If we get that, O4 is going to be phenomenal. Okay, so I want the O4A unit. Low light will look better on the Moonlight because it's a low light sensor. Everything these days is amazing. Okay, so the next thing, we'll quickly talk about this bit before we get on to HDZero. Let me get that out of the way. And this is about balancing on the Radiomaster radios, because there seems to have been a bit of confusion around cell balancing on the Radiomaster radios. And I have spoke to Radiomaster about this, and I do have a video which I'm going to do on it, but I thought I'd talk about it in tonight's stream because things are a little bit light. And there seems to be some information out there that people don't think Radiomaster radios balance cells. And that is both true and not true at the same time. And the reality is this: older Radiomaster radios don't balance their batteries. However, the current generation of Radiomaster radios do. Now, all of this stems from some people posting some pictures online of their packs and their cells that they've been testing, and they're getting really wide variances in the voltages. And the reality is this: the Radiomaster TX16S Mark II, this isn't the Mark II, but the Mark II, the Boxer, the Zorro, and the Pocket, so the T16S, TX16S Mark II, the Boxer, the Zorro, and the Pocket all have balancing circuits in. They're all capable of balancing at a very low level, only up to 40 milliamps, and they will detect severe out of balance cells. However, it isn't perfect. Other radios, though, the original TX16 like I've got here, does not have a built-in balance circuit. The reality is this: whilst you can charge the batteries in this radio, you should periodically check it for balance. And I did that recently, actually. I never check mine, and I checked my Pocket and I checked my Boxer. This is a Mark I, so I can't really class that. And I've had no problems at all. These were basically bang on. No issues. There was a tiny variance at half charge, but nothing like some of the people were talking about. I checked my pocket. The cells on the pocket are exactly the same. 3.2 and 3.6. Interesting. What I will say, though, is this. The 40 milliamp balance circuit is limited. But what I've been told by Radiomaster is as follows. It should not allow the battery to overcharge. So if the radio is not able to balance, it should cut the charge off if one of the cells goes above 4.2 volts. It shouldn't allow one of the cells to go above 4.2. So even after, even if there's an imbalance, it will stop them going up to silly voltages. But there does seem to be a lot of confusion around this. But look, I checked all of mine. I don't see anything in it. I think what is good practice to say is check your batteries every now and again. But with regards to the modern stuff, you shouldn't have any problems. TX16S Mark II, Boxer, Zorro, and Pocket all have the balance circuit built in. I've seen nothing on mine that suggests that there's any issues. Interesting. My Boxer charges the battery well out of whack. Every few charges, I have to balance it on a separate charger. No idea. Not the end of the world. That's weird. Omar, I would suggest something is off. I would suggest something is off. It shouldn't do that. The Boxer should not imbalance. Look, at the end of the day, the radio can't control if the cells go out of balance. All the radio can do is try to bring them back in. All the radio could do is try to drag it back within a range. The only thing I will say is it could be bad batteries. Lithium ion as well versus LiPo. Cells are stable. Yeah. I use the Radiomaster battery as well. I've had no problems with the Radiomaster battery at all. No. Weird. Weird. See, mine is very flat. You know, mine has been perfect. And I've made sure I've checked it as well. Because I saw all of this stuff kicking off and I was like, that's weird. 6,002 amp hour 2S. Like, a battery going out of... Look, you can get a battery drift, obviously. I think probably the simplest... I think the simplest answer in this is to always now and again check your battery. Just, it's worth giving it a check if you're doing the USB charging. Would be my advice. But that's the information as I had it today from Radiomaster. So that's really all I can say on that subject because I can't really... I wouldn't expect... I was told all boxes should be the same. Protec's got a good piece of advice. I think before putting in a new lithium ion, people should charge them to 4.2 both. This would solve the problems. Yeah, a proper charge outside. My comments make no sense. I'm 6 minutes behind. Yeah, you know, I do think there's a lot of opportunity on radios for them to improve sort of this kind of stuff. In my opinion now, what I'd like to see in the next generation of radios is, you know, proper battery management visibility so you can see each cell on the display. That would be good. An option where you can go in to the radio menu and see the battery cells. I think I would like to see some big step forward in radios in the next sort of 12 months. We're still waiting on the H7 support in EdgeTX and things like that. I would like to see a lot more around that side of things. I think radios need a bit of a step forward on the software now. I love EdgeTX, I love OpenTX, but I think it's starting to feel clunky. And I'll be honest, I've spent quite a bit of time with Ethos. Yes, I'm going to get hated for saying this, but I actually think Ethos is very nice. What FR Sky have done on Ethos does look quite nice. I do like it. It does look very good. It does look very nice. I do like the touch UI. I like everything's fairly simple and straightforward. I still think it's a little overcomplicated. I would actually like to get to the stage where we start of, you know, you're guided through being able to do things. Love Ethos, running 3 radios and the sweet update software, perfect. With the iOS 5 version part 2, yeah, I need to get round to doing that. I don't really... Here's the truth. The reason I haven't released the iOS 5 part 2 is I don't know what I'm going to say. It flies very nice. The motors are okay, but expensive. That's it in a nutshell. I cannot tell you the motors are any better than a set of Zing Ecos, let alone Zings. They're all right. They're a little bit noisy. They do rattle a little bit if you get the D-gain off. I don't really know what to say. In many ways, the big mistake I made on that video was saying I was going to do a part 2, and I will do it. I'll probably try and do that one this week. It flies great, like all the AOS of the frames. I like how all of the AOS 5s fly. What I should do, actually, and here's what I do need to do. I think Rossa has uploaded a load of new tunes, hasn't he? I think Ross has uploaded a bunch of new tunes for 4.5. I think. And I probably need to just install one of them on it and see how it is. I'm sure Chris said he is. I've got to do that FR Sky transmitter review as well. Yes, that's on my list. Now I'm behind on that stuff. All of the other stuff, I can concentrate on this. Yeah, I'm sure he's got tunes, so I'll probably put Chris's tune on and take it out. But I don't know what people are really... It makes me laugh at Chris. Look, Chris's motors are really high quality. The product is high quality, okay? The motors are phenomenally nice to look at. Do they improve you as a pilot? Are they really any more powerful than a set of Zing 2s? In my opinion, it's negligible. They don't really offer any improvement in battery life in my testing. They're a really nice high-quality motor. That is all I can really say. Can I recommend you spend the money on them? I think if you're looking for a really nice high-quality motor, then yeah, consider it. But if you're not, then go and buy a Zing. I think you'll be more than happy. It's hard to say... it's dramatically better. It's just not possible for me to say that. The Supernovas are really nice. The frame, I like Chris's frame. But yeah, I will. Do you know what? I will do that this week. I will install Chris's tunes. Does he have a special tune for the Supernovas? I've not looked. So I know Chris has his video. Ah, there you go. iOS presets for Betaflight 4.5. So yeah, Chris released this video. It's so here we've got the preset source. So what presets has he created? Let's have a look. 4.5. I'm just looking through his preset sources. So these are the tunes done last week. What we got in here? I'll have to have a look. But he does have the presets available, which is good to see. So I'll probably do that. I will probably do that. Right, I need to do two things. I need to say thank you to WhatsApp FPV for the £5 super chat. That's incredible, my friend. And thank you to JD's RC Model World for the $10 super chat. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for the comments. I really do appreciate it. From the Midwest, nonetheless. Very nice indeed. Thank you for that. There's individual tunes, Force 5.5, 5.5, 5.5, plus FC Flippers tunes. Yeah. Okay. I just got 8 new iOS Supernova 2207s. Love them very much. They're very nice. Yeah, they're really nice motors. There's no doubt they are really nice motors. Really, really nice motors. Really nice. Okay, so CaddX. Now, since the release of the Goggles X, I'm just going to move the radios before I knock one off. Obviously, there's been a lot of hoo-ha with these goggles. Unfortunately, though, issues seem to still be happening with people buying the goggles today. And what I mean by this is you're still seeing posts coming up on Facebook and things like this of people having problems. What I mean is things like this. Oh, this week I think I've seen 2 posts with the Wi-Fi antenna being loose and issues with the Wi-Fi antenna. But also you had this guy here where his antenna cables were butchered. They were caught here and here, and basically CaddX have said, hey, it'll be fine, don't worry about it. What is interesting is there is absolutely still people having issues with their Goggles X. Now, here is a brand new set that haven't been opened. These have never been torn down, never taken apart. They are virgin fresh is the term I will use. And what I thought we would do is, while I talk about this, is have a look at what the situation is with these and have a look if there is any issue on these compared to what we're seeing people post online. Now, I have not opened this lid. This is a brand spanking new set. And it will be interesting to see what we see. Now, what I am going to do is I need to do two things. The glue stuck the screw to the screwdriver then. Let me just do something. I filled up my hard drive a minute, and I'm not recording, which I need to be able to do. So let me just delete some things. There we go. And then let me start recording. Not enough disk space. I just deleted stuff. Oh, wait a minute. What profile am I on? Am I on the wrong profile? 2 minutes. Let me just check something, guys. What am I recording to? Gee, live stream recording. Yeah, we should be okay. Oh, there we go. It's kicked in now. It wasn't working, but now it is. Okay, so. Right, let me just turn the brightness up on this camera. Oh, no, it is. Sorry, you're okay. Right, so. I don't know what we're going to find under here. Let me just adjust the... Oh, we're on autofocus as well. So, I've undone the two screws. We're going to pop this forward. There we go. That's the lid lifted. Now, I haven't seen under here. So, this is a first for me as well as you on these. Ta-da! We have the inside with the new heatsink. So this is the ones with the brand new heatsink installed. Now that is interesting. Now I want to look at something. That looks off. But I want to look at it under the microscope. Let me just get that under the microscope a minute. 2 seconds. I want to look and confirm, is that right? Is it on or off? Let me just check. So I need some more height. Okay, I can confirm that Wi-Fi antenna is not connected. I can confirm that Wi-Fi antenna is not connected. That is not on properly. It is on an angle. You can see it there. So that is the first thing. And just to prove that, right, I'm going to take the plunger. Actually, let's just grab... It's not too bad, but it's not on. Let me just grab this microscope. And I will put it so you guys can see it as well in a second. And I want to record this. Oh. And then I'll do this so you guys can see it. Bear with me a second. I'm just getting this one up, so... Oh, I'm going to need to format the SD card. Very annoying. That one, and then we want to go down. Format. I can't see OK from here. Just formatting the SD card. I'll be back with you now. Okay. Boom. Recording. So. I'm going to get this under here, and then I'll show you it in a second. Not the easiest thing to do. Oh, yeah, that's definitely not on. So, if I go to the overhead... Now, I don't know if you guys will be able to see this. Let me zoom out. But you guys will be... You're going to have to look at a monitor screen as well a second so I can get this where it needs to be. And there you can see that UFL is not connected. There we go. Unbelievable. So, that's the first. Great start. Let's just move that out of the way. Next, let's drop these two off. Now, this is obviously the new heatsink design. This is absolutely an area where CaddX need to do better. They need to sort their quality control out. It's just ridiculous now. Okay, and what we're going to do is pop the plate. Yeah, come on. Thank you very much. So there you go. You actually saw the second I lifted it, the Wi-Fi antenna shot off. That is the new heatsink plate that I have got in mine. So there you can see it. Plenty of thermal compound. And what I just want to look at next is how the antenna cables look. Interesting. I'm intrigued there. Let me just check under the microscope. Okay, no, they're not damaged. They're not damaged, they're just a little bit bent. Okay, so this is the replacement heatsink. This is the new one. This is, they've made a few versions of these. I don't know which version this is, but it is the newest version as I understand it. I think part of the problem is that, oh, that's interesting. Is there a shim on there? Is that a shim? No, there's a thermal pad and compound. That's rough. Is there a pad on that one as well? Yeah. So they're using thermal pads and compound on the two transceivers. Interesting. UFLs are fine. They're okay. They're on. They're a bit wobbly, but they're on. They're fine. No concerns on them. You can see this hasn't been used because the thermal compound isn't hot. Can you see it's all liquid because it's brand new? Hence the reason it just looks like that. That thermal pad has broke a little bit there, but I'll be fine. I'll bed that back. But yeah, that's the new heatsink. I don't know if this is the latest revision, but it's certainly one of the newest revisions. The overall board layout is exactly the same. But yeah, overall, you know, it's interesting to see what they've done on this mod. The idea is they've given more surface area for the heatsink. If you watched my thermal teardown of these goggles, this in itself isn't going to solve the problems. The idea of this is to simply try and get heat away from the PCB. That's the idea of it. But yeah, overall, I don't like the way they route this antenna down the middle at all. I think that's a stupid idea, and I won't be putting it back that way. I don't like the way they route that at all. Personally, I think there are better ways to do it. But yeah, that is the setup. That is the gunk all over it there. Now, I'm not going to screw that back a minute on purpose because I want to make some content with that afterwards. But I thought we'd have a look. Someone has said, did the antenna come loose when I lift the lid? It's hard to say. Look, that UFL shouldn't be that loose, especially when the cable is under the heatsink. It is possible that removing the lid causes the coax to twist and pop the UFL. That is possible. But I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. Replace the PC thermal paste. Yeah, what I want to do is I just want to take some... there will be a video coming on this. But look, really my point was CaddX still have some work to do. We're still seeing too many people posting, I have issues with a brand new set of goggles. All of this stuff should have been ironed out by now. We shouldn't be getting this. And then you add that alongside the ongoing issues like I discussed last week and the annoyances and the problems people are having. It is very, very frustrating. It really, really is. So, that is the current situation with CaddX today on the Goggles X. There's definitely more work that needs to be done. I'm just picking the screws up and putting them in this lid because I want to put this to one side safe. A minute. There we go. And where I put things safe is inside a 3D printer. That's gone into the X1 oven for safety. What is the metallic sponge-like stuff on O3? Opposite part of where the thermal paste is. That's just... I don't know what DJI use it for, but yeah, I know the stuff you mean. I don't know. It's a form of shielding. Did I test the Rattle Pro? No, I haven't. Yet. RF shield. Yeah, it's like RF shielding foam. You'll see the silver stuff and you'll see the other stuff. It's nothing phenomenal. Right. If you have any questions, put it in the chat. FPV Unity says Walksnail is the best and HDZero is shit. Thoughts? No system is the best. No system is the worst. It's what is best for you. If my job is to tell you my perspective, and my perspective is the best system is dependent on what you intend to do. So if you're going to sit there and say to me, I want the best system with the lowest latency, it's HDZero. We're not even going to discuss it. Nothing else comes close. Nothing is even in the right ballpark close. If you're going to say to me, I want the best system from an image quality point of view, it's DJI. Again, hands down. If you want the best middle of both, so what Avatar today is the very best at is nothing. But it is okay at everything. So, HDZero is the best at low latency, but not image quality, doesn't have a sky-based DVR. But HDZero also has a lot of options, really great in the whoop space, really great in the low latency space, really great as an analog replacement digital FPV system. DJI isn't in the whoop space, isn't the lowest latency, isn't giving you a lot of options. But what it is good at is image quality and penetration and overall out-the-box experience. Where Avatar sits in the middle is Avatar offers the DJI system behavior, so better penetration than HDZero because HDZero is no two-way transmission. A lot of camera options, a Whoop VTX, a number of goggle options, a VRX option, all like HDZero, but in that digital higher latency but better penetration link. What is the best overall FPV system is depending on your perspective. What is the best overall sort of freestyle system? I'd probably lean on Avatar a little bit more than HDZero. And that's partly because the penetration behavior of a two-way system. It isn't because HDZero is bad. It's just there is an inherent behavioral difference between HDZero and the other two systems. And the two-way link gives some benefits. The two-way link gives additional penetration and a bit more pushing through difficult scenarios. Whereas HDZero is like, it's gone. But as quick as it's gone, it's back. So it's your preference. What HDZero does better than anyone is, though, low latency, lots of options. You know, it's hard. Yeah, range is difficult on HDZero. Penetration is difficult on HDZero because there's no, you know, look, Avatar and DJI do one very simple thing. They keep sending data that allows it to push. Was hoping for something and he said nothing. Ivan, I don't know what you mean. I think what I would say is this. Anyone who says one system is the best overall, I wouldn't believe. And I'd say that for anyone. Any person, and the day I say it, unless DJI come out with a fixed latency option tomorrow and Whoop VTXs and the same image quality, and do you know what I mean? Then maybe you might have one is best. HDZero is phenomenal on small aircraft. Community engagement, I feel HDZero is the best. Ish. It can also be quite toxic, though. CaddX have delivered so much more than I thought and could have been, but they've also let us down a number of ways. CaddX, though, look, if someone said to me, I want to get into freestyle, HDZero isn't open source. Parts of HDZero is open source. HDZero itself isn't open source. Let's make sure there's no bullshit here. HDZero as a project is not open source, just like not in the way Express ELRS is open source. It's just not. The ASIC, the main parts of HDZero are closed source. There are elements of HDZero that are open source, like the Goggles OS. But that doesn't make the system open source. So we have to be careful that people don't confuse things, because people look at Express ELRS, fully open source. HDZero, open source software with closed sourced hardware, is the right term to use. Avatar has a lot of benefits. Look, I think overall Overall, the ESP libraries are open source, yes. The ESP libraries are open source. All of the software development is open source. That is not the case for the HDZero video ASIC. Someone cannot go and pick up a HDZero video ASIC and use it in their own way, whereas anyone can open up an ESP32 and use it in their own way. So there is a fundamental difference. And the open sourceness of HDZero has been largely pointless. We haven't really seen anything big come of it. Really. Being honest, nothing really has changed. Other than Sneaky FPV with his OSD, but he's done that on all the systems anyway, and that's been adopted by HDZero. Whereas, you know, the low-level HDZero stuff you can't touch. And look, you know, open source for the sake of open source doesn't really help anything. I've not really seen anything in the HDZero open source world that really has made me think it's worth being open source, if you get my meaning. You know, overall, if someone says to me, what is the best system for me to buy? And they said, I'm only wanting to do some freestyle FPV, a bit of plane, a bit of this, a bit of that. It's probably Avatar. Avatar straddles the mid-end of everything very well. It straddles the middle of everything well. Avatar HD does. But it doesn't do anything great. That's the problem. And that's the thing. You know, if someone says, I want to fly whoops, I want to fly planes, I want to fly drones, probably say Avatar. I'll be honest. If they said, I want the best possible image quality, it's like, get DJI. Or if they say, I want the simplest system, I'm not really into small aircraft or this, I just want to fly sort of freestyle, possibly DJI. Lean on that. If I had DJI Goggle 2, would I sell it for Walksnail Goggle X? That's a difficult question. Your jumping system. Would I swap DJI FPV for Avatar is the question. And the question around that is, what are you looking to do? Do you need Whoop VTXs? Because there's nothing about Avatar other than maybe more cameras that really make it much better. They've got lots of options. And like, if you said, I want to fly at night, I want low light cameras, then it's Avatar. It's got to be Avatar. That's it. You know, it's use case. And this is what I've said. It's what you intend to do. The Avatar link is a few years behind DJI. Nothing is better. It's all down to what you intend to do. But you won't, you know, I personally would generally, for the average user, most likely recommend DJI, but I might lean on Avatar. For the average user. I find it hard to recommend HDZero to the average freestyle pilot. But Bot Grinder's the exception to that. He loves it, he flies it, he does it all of the time. You know, Bot is big HDZero. And that's great because he is really showing what it can do in a freestyle world. What I would actually like to see from HDZero, I'd love to see a Skyside DVR. I think that would push it forward more. Being able for, I think, for many of the pilots to say record Skyside without the breakup and things like that, that would be that I think would just help. That's the thing. I think the risk with Avatar today is it being discontinued with the new system. That is something Logan Rush said, what if I want a system that will be discontinued in 2 years? You have to assume all of them will be discontinued in 2 years, is the honest truth right now. At some point, there'll be a version 2 HDZero. At some point, there will be the version 2 Avatar. We're around the corner from 04. At some point, you're going to see this stuff change. Analog. Analog for the win. Sky DVR for HDZero. I think that would help a lot of people push in. Right. The last thing I'm going to talk about tonight. I think HDZero is really taking the Whoop world. Eventually, they'll stop making the analog chip. Yeah, I can see that being around for some time. The good thing with analog, though, there's a lot of options. Right. The last thing I was going to talk about was this, and this wasn't what you're seeing on the screen there. This was the new release of EdgeTX. Centurion version 2.1. This is the new version that has lots of little bits. I'm not going to go through all the release notes, but you can see it there. But what I thought I'd do is install it on this radio and have a quick look. Now, I don't know what version of EdgeTX is on this radio. Have I had it about a problem with Goggles X screens turning black, green, and other colors? Yeah, basically faulty. So what we're going to do is install it on this radio via the cloud build system. So if you haven't seen, you've got EdgeTX Buddy. I've just plugged it in USB there. We're going to select Centurion, Radiomaster TX16S. We've got the STM bootloader. Click next, start flashing. Let's see what happens. Removing existing firmware from radio. Now, I haven't even looked at... I don't know what version of EdgeTX is on this radio. So this could be interesting. It's a bench radio, so I'm not particularly worried about it. But we're just doing the flash, and then we'll have a look at what's changed. I could do with downloading the SD card for this as well this time. And I'll probably have to set it up again. But we can get the SD card contents from up here, which we'll do after the flashing process. Now, this is just such a simple way to flash. I don't really see the need for me to run around and update the boxer. What I'm more interested on the TX16 is the touchscreen and to see what's happened there. As long as you don't do the miserable woman's voice on it. But we'll just wait to allow this to hitting. It's not the quickest process, as you're seeing. It probably takes 2 to 3 minutes. I won't want to leave this window a minute. Just reading down on the chat while we're waiting for this. If you have any questions, now's the time to ask them. With regards to the HDZero, I think Whoop's HDZero has really taken over. It's going to be interesting to see what comes next from them in that world. They seem to be doing a lot on the sort of smaller size aircraft in recent times. You know, you've got the Eco VTX. That's really cool. I got a video coming on that. What if you want to follow drift cars and fly tiny Whoops in jungle gyms? HDZero, maybe? Have I done the thermals on the Eco? No, I haven't. No, I haven't done the thermos. I do need to check it. HDZero has been doing a lot on the small side. You know, this has been a... You know, this is an incredible move just to try and get it as small as they can. And something, you know, I've got the video, which I'm going to go. This is really, really interesting. This is where HDZero are pushing. You know, they're pushing as much as they can on getting the weight down on this. And that's really cool to see. That is really cool to see. And again, what you've noticed from HDZero, if you think about everything HDZero have done, they don't push that much on the bigger stuff. they push on this end. My Mobilus X Eco overheats while flying. Is it getting enough airflow over the chipset? Because look, this board is largely the same as the last one, but it is going to need airflow. It is going to need airflow. It's inevitable to me that there'll be more in this area. Right. Now that's flashed, we need to set up the SD card. Power on your device and make sure it's not plugged in. So, let's power on the radio. 2 minutes. At the moment, it's just sitting on the screen that says... you guys can't see it, but it just says Radiomaster Multi. Almost like it's crashed. That's all I'm getting at the moment. Not looking good. Can't turn it off. Oh dear. Let's pull the plug. Pop the plug back in. And see what happens again. Oh, that's better. Worked that time. Okay, so now it wants me to plug back in. The USB. USB storage. There we go. We're going to select the SD card on the app. And then I'm going to go down and find it. I assume it's that one there. Select. View files. Yes. Select firmware version. Centurion. Select radio model. TX16S. We're going to go for English. Apply changes. And then it's apparently fetching the contents. Removing existing data could be dodgy. I'll probably lose all of my models now, but it's not important on this radio. I'm not particularly worried. We'll just wait for... quite slow. I don't know if it's formatting. I don't know what it's doing. I should have chose English US guy. But it'll be interesting to see how this looks. Now, I haven't looked at the new EdgeTX on these touchscreen radios. Definitely slow. They have said that this is experimental. So this may not be the best way forward. What I may do is take the SD card out and put it directly into the computer. Be interesting to see if this goes through or fails. I'd like to see that percentage move. I'd rather it didn't sit there at 1% all the way through. Or 0% as it is. We don't know how fast the SD card slot is on this. It does look hung. Should we go for Libby? Apply changes. Remove an existing data. See what this does. We'll try again. If not, I'll put the SD card straight in. Doesn't look good, does it? I wonder if I put the SD card directly in. Let's try that. Let me just get to what I'm looking for. Unplug. The radio's definitely hung. Wow. So the radio hung. So I'm going to put the SD card straight in. So let's do this again. So we go into SD card contents, select the SD card. We're going to select you, select the folder, select the version, select the radio. We're going to go for Libby. Apply changes, and now let's see what it does directly in the computer. So now I'm in the SD card slot. Now my LED is flashing, which tells me it's doing something. Ah, we're doing something this time, look. There we go. That's more like it. Slow process, but it does go through. This is the quickest way to do it then. If you are having issues with HDZero, just pop the SD card into your computer if you have an adapter and tell it to do the SD card this way. It's definitely nicer via the web browser. HDZero Buddy is tidy. I'd love to see an online Express ELRS web interface flasher. That would be cool. Any Aurora Borealis photos? Yeah, we did have some here. It was quite amazing down here. Interesting. The Aurora. So down where I was, there is one, is there? Down here, it looked just like a white haze. But when you took a picture of it, it looked like something. Hoggy. He's going to tell me Wi-Fi. So, let's see what happens.
Welcome to EdgeTX. Throttle warning. Switch warning. 0%.
Yes, yes, yes. So, this is the new version. This has the new look, same as the other version. So now it says about EdgeTX down here, and it tells us it's that new Centurion version. QR code that we can scan. The touch interface on EdgeTX is okay. You know, you got your radio settings. It's still a little bit clunky. Express ELRS lure built in. Not sure what version it'll be. Well, that didn't work. Come on. You've still then got your touch screen options, but it's still not super user-friendly in my eyes at the moment. Touch is faster than the wheel and click. Yes. Model settings. Oh, it has kept my radios. That's good. So we're going heli setup. I would love to see a very quad-centric version of EdgeTX released, rather than the generic, the plain and heli and the swash plate setup and all of this. I know you can ignore it, but I would like to see sort of a basic setup for quads. But it's a bit easier to use from the look of it on touchscreen now. If we go down into the radio settings, we can go across to the SD card. We can go across to the radio setup. I don't like that when you scroll, it touches an option. But it's fixed. So sounds. I want to turn off that freaking beep. Turn it down. How do I turn the beep off? I want to turn the beep off. I can. Let me get rid of the beep. It's laggy compared to Ethos. Yeah, it is. It's definitely laggy compared to Ethos. It's okay. It's okay. Hardware. It's nice that you can use the touchscreen now. Yeah, the problem with the MCU in these, they've still been stuck on F4s. We've not been able to get to. I think it would be really nice when we get to any piece treaty made with OpenIPC. It'd be cool to explore this. I've been keeping an eye on what OpenIPC have been doing with their custom hardware. At this moment in time, everything I see remains to be largely hearsay and rumors and not fact. Until I see a product that you can actually buy, that you can actually test, maybe. I believe Mario's continuing posting videos, but look, if you want my honest opinion, that project won't last. That's just a feeling I've got. It's not what I want. It's not what I hope. It's not what I think, but I don't think it will. I just don't think it will. And look, I'd love to be wrong. I just, the vibes I've got from the project. Look, a successful project takes a lot more than it being a good project in the sense of the hardware, the software works well. A successful project is a much bigger thing. It takes a lot of work and a lot of effort and a lot of working with the community for starters. And I don't think Betaflight's always been that, but if you look how successful Betaflight has been, is it today is probably in a better place than it's ever been. It's not always been the case. And projects controlled by very small numbers of people who are looking to then, what the experience that I have had fed back to me still remains. Anyone who has really asked, it's almost like things require a supportive community. It's not so much the community, but the project has to be willing to deal with the community, good and bad. And if you don't like what the community says, listen. Don't fucking get angry about it. Don't get pissy about it. Making a project open source is all very well, but you've then got to, if you want it to be successful, work with that community. And many times, the people involved in an open source project are too close to it. And they get too involved in it. And they want, and they don't like it when people criticize it. Sometimes you've got to look at the criticism and go, oh, and you, what your vision for a project is may not be where the project actually ends up going. The project may take a completely different direction. And actually, if you want it to be successful, sometimes you've got to go, Jesus, that's the way we need to go now. This wasn't what it was for. This isn't what it was intended for, but this is the way it's going to make it a success. If you sit there and go, you know, look, I want to make an open source video system for FPV, that's really hard. If you go, I want to make an open source wireless video system that could be used across any industry, and we're going to work with every use case, and we're going to listen to what the people come back with, and then see where the niches come in for it, then it can be successful. But if you peg yourself down on day one, unless you've got the right team behind it, it's going to be very, very hard. You know, what made Express ELRS so successful is that pretty much everyone involved was diehard FPV, which means it was always going to succeed because it was from FPV. OpenIPC isn't from FPV. OpenIPC has been sort of forked into FPV, but it's a very small part of OpenIPC. And the core of OpenIPC is not about FPV. And then the problem arises that people get too involved and people want to, you know, they take feedback and go, well, that's not what we want, or that's not how it is. Or, you know, here's a classic. Any open source project that says, I need help with this, go and learn Linux, deserves to die. I'll be honest. If you're going to tell your community, hey, you need to go away and learn Linux and stop asking us questions, then you don't deserve to exist, because you're not going to build a community. An open source project should be welcoming people in and going, yeah, look, some of this is really difficult, but we've put tools and things in place to make it easy. And here they are. And OpenIPC's been doing that. They have done some stuff. There's now a UI interface for programming on certain boards and cameras for their own stuff. You know, their thing of their own thing is going a certain way. But look, they got so far to go. When you look at the RF layout of that board, it's not pretty. You know, there's at best, OpenIPC will be a expensive open source solution. It's never going to, you know, it's not cheap. It's on par with HDZero. You know, you can get a full setup HDZero or Avatar HD system for $200 and not have any messing around. Plug it in and it works. The VRX module and a camera and a VTX, $250, I think, $200 to $250 you can get fully set up. Look, you know, you spend $100 and waste 10 hours. I don't know what your time is worth. 10 hours to me is I don't have 10 hours. I don't have 10 hours to fuck around with a system that doesn't work properly. I just don't. It's just reality. DJI surveillance. Yeah, not really. You know. I suppose the last thing we'll finish up on before I finish up is the DJI ban, actually. It's an interesting subject. So, obviously, the DJI ban is around the corner. Apparently, we're going to have to wait and see. There is so much BS out there. It's crazy. It's, you know, look, all of the noise. 99% is just untrue. 99.9% is just untrue. But nonetheless, it is looking like that there is a substantial amount of noise that could make it happen. And I don't know what will happen. I think we're in uncharted waters. The world is a bit of a weird place. And there is a very real possibility that DJI could be banned from selling products in the USA. And that's a fact. That could happen. Because the direction they're going for is the wireless system, which will make it basically illegal to use and import. It's a very clever way of doing it. It is a very clever way of doing it. I think, look, this isn't about DJI. That is the one thing I will say. This is a political move. It is a game of darts, and DJI is a bullseye right now because they're... Look, here's the truth on this. If you wanted to hit China, do you know who you would ban? It's really easy. Foxconn. So you would say to all the manufacturers, you're not allowed to use Foxconn anymore. You know why that won't happen? Because every Dell, every Apple, every HP laptop, monitor, all of that stuff would stop. The public wouldn't be able to buy computers. They won't do that because it's a big audience who are going to get very upset very quickly. So, how can they hit China in a way that only annoys a very small number of people, but is a very large political statement? And that is DJI. If anything was about China, you just stop Foxconn. Desktops, motherboards, everything. You just stop Foxconn. You just go for the throat. Foxconn is... I don't think people quite understand how big... they are. Everything is made by Foxconn. Based out of China. And if you're going to go, you'd go them. But they won't. They're going for the ones with the noise is going to be the most. So DJI is at risk here. DJI is definitely at risk here. Simply because it would make a very big political target. And it will be very sad, and I don't agree with it. And look, I am a person that has many problems with DJI. None of them is... I have zero security concerns now with DJI. I don't run ad blocker on YouTube. No, intentionally. I will watch the ads because without ads, this channel wouldn't exist for me. So why would I block an ad that another creator gets money from? I don't have... I'd love YouTube to actually give me premium, but they don't. As a creator, they should give me premium. But I don't pay for premium. I just watch the ad. But as a creator, here's the truth, guys. If everyone used ad blocker, this channel stops tomorrow. Look, that's a hard truth of... You have to understand... None of this comes free. You know, it's, you know, we all... You get, yeah, premium is tiny. They give a tiny percentage compared to ad revenue. It is minuscule. Premium doesn't really help the creator either. YouTube have screwed creators over with premium. We don't make shit, but it's something. Ad revenue still is enough to allow me to buy a flight controller, to allow me to do something. Patreon, I have my Patreon, which is by far the most important. But without ads as well, it isn't viable. It's, it ain't crap, but it ain't, look, when you're dealing with, do you get $100 a month from ad revenue? If you get $100, then that's a flight controller, or that's a battery, or that's something. You have to understand, ad revenue is important. It's not, for me, Patreon and ad revenue sort of, that's what makes up the income for the channel. The channel has to have income. If this channel doesn't have income, it doesn't exist. I can't buy shit. Let me be clear on that. It doesn't give me the freedom to go and tell GJ to go to sod off or CaddX or whatever, But you've got to take into account a creator can only get his income from one or two places. I'm not rich from YouTube like all the jerks in the comments say. Yeah, if people think, look, you do tell them that though. Yeah, it's weird how all the best channels have so few subs. But you are getting shit for free, like the 10th radio. Yeah, that changes nothing. If anyone thinks I benefit from a free radio, you're mental. What am I meant to do with a free radio? Here's a real simple question. I get people say this to me all the time. But yeah, you get this free. What am I meant to do with it? Is a radio going to buy me put food on the table for my kids? Is a radio going to pay for a flight controller? It does fuck all. It does nothing. A $60 radio, a $200 radio, a $400 radio, it does nothing. Someone could send me a £1,000 radio. It doesn't help me. It doesn't change nothing. It doesn't do anything. For content, it allows me to make the video, but the radio then is, look, everything I keep or send back. You just don't need stuff. Look, I don't need fucking radios. I just don't need radios. I will review them because I have them, but I don't need radios. I give stuff away most of the time. I don't even post it out. I mean, look, there will be some giveaways coming up, but giveaways complicate things. Potentially, yeah, but I don't. Well, it's not even worth selling. Let's just take a boxer. Someone sold me the only thing I ever sold once, and this is true because he might be here, Failsafe. Failsafe bought a Zorro from me because I bought a Zorro. I bought a Zorro, and then Radiomaster sent me a Zorro. So I sold the one I bought, which is quite funny. Free radio for 12 hours work doing the video. Yes, Shady, you've hit the nail on the head. It does make me laugh when people say, oh yeah, but you got it for free. Here's the truth. Nothing below probably $3,000 would be worth it. I keep pretty much everything because just in case I need it for future content. And I am at the stage probably with radios. And here's the truth. I have the two jumpers, the T20s. And I've got the standard Express LRS version and the Gemini version. And I'll probably give one away is what I'm going to do. Because I don't see the point of keeping both of them. But I do have everything. I do keep everything. The reason for it is if I need to go and make a video with it in the future. Ian's price is 3,000. No, what I mean is this. Anything below 3 grand, it's not even worth selling because of the hassle factor. It's just not. Imagine selling something you were sent to review, right? That A, you've taken apart, and then the guy goes to use it and finds something you didn't put back together properly, or you missed, or something, or just say ended up going faulty in the first month. It's just going to be a ball ache. It's just going to be a ball ache. And I always like to have everything to refer back to in future videos because unlike most creators, I do follow-ups on a lot of stuff. I do a follow-up video. So, you know, oh, let's talk about this, or let's talk about that, or let's do that, or something in like 6 months' time. Yeah, selling is just a ball. It's not worth the hassle. It's just not worth the hassle. If anyone thinks, I think the only thing I ever sold was that I bought the Zorro and then they sent me one. Yeah, look, do I appreciate being sent stuff from manufacturers? Absolutely. Absolutely. I never asked to keep anything. Never have. The advantage with a manufacturer leaving a product with me is it'll turn up in live streams like this and I'll be able to talk about it and things like this. In fact, here's what I've just wrote. I'm going to read you an email, right? I'm not going to show it because I don't want to show who it was to. I was just asked by a vendor, right? I was just asked by a vendor about what the situation is. And I'll finish on this. I was asked by them about, like, yeah, what's the situation, you know, with products and, you know, to make a review, what is the score? And I'll read you what I wrote. I'll read you, I might show, let me just find it. And I might snip it. Can't even find it. 1 second. I'm trying to find. Oh, it is sent. It's in my sent box. Right, so I'm going to take a strip of this so you can see this. So I just want to... All right, let me just read this before I show it to you. Yes, that's fine. So this is how I deal with vendors. So here is what you're about to see. So this is what I wrote to a vendor yesterday, okay? Because I was asked about what the cost would be, or what, you know, how does it work? And this is what I wrote. For me to be able to discuss a product on my channel, I need it in my hands to test and then make content on. I do not expect or require to keep the product in return for review or content, and I do not ask for payment. Many times we do get to keep things, or they are left on loan for longer periods, and that's fantastic, as I am able to then feature them in the product in later content as I'm using them. But again, I do not require that to be the case. All I ask is if it's a loan, we agree the time up front and that it is collected for return at the cost of the vendor. That is my terms on everything. I do not ask for payment. I do not expect to keep the product. But if it is left here, it will get used in future content. And that is always the case. That is always the case. You'll also notice I'm very clear in saying test and then make content on. You can't make content on something you haven't tried. And I'm always very clear on that aspect as well. I have to be able to test it first. You know, it's really simple. You know, it needs to be tested. They want to leave it, I'll find a use for it. I'm not going to hide that fact. You know, but again, it's really simple. But yeah, I got asked of, you know, how does it work? What do you want for payment and stuff? I was like, I don't do payment. You'd be surprised what I could find in short-term testing. It's very really long-term stuff fails in FPV. FPV's problems are QA out the door. Most of FPV's issues are day one. Very really other issues after a period of time. Shout out for Ireland's youngest pilot, Jed FPV. Hey, Jed, how are you? I hate those videos where they call it a review and then read the spec from the box and struggle to open it. Yeah, you know. Right, it is time to go. I want to say a big thank you for spending some time for me. I have a Patreon. So if you want to support this channel and you don't want to watch ads on YouTube, I do have a Patreon. Please consider checking it out. I don't post a lot on Patreon. I post here. You're not paying to get... I'm not going to pretend I'm like Bardwell where you get lots of great stuff. You don't, right? What you get in Patreon is supporting the channel to allow me to keep doing this. This is the benefit you get from Patreon, okay? But I do go on there and I do post some stuff. You do get some early access to some stuff. Not everything. You'll get a random message from me now and again. But it is about... it is about supporting the channel to allow us to keep doing what we do. Please also check out the link to my Discord as well as don't forget FPV Wiki. That's in the description as well. My website that has all sorts of technical stuff on. Anyway, that's it from me. Look after yourself. We will be back again, same time, same place next week. Thank you all for spending time. Thank you for the 2 super chats, and I will speak to you soon.